I gave myself a budget of $500 to upgrade my new Trek Emonda rim brake road bike. What upgrades did I pick? How much did I actually end up spending? Stay tuned to find out. My name's Isaac, and I've sometimes been called a bit of a cyclopath. I got this bike in January 2024, the beginning of this year, during my trip over to Australia to watch the Tour Down Under. I did a couple races over there in its stock form. Now I've brought it back to New Zealand with me, and as you do with bikes, I started thinking about some upgrades, but I had a limit. I could only spend about $500 on the bike. So I'm going to walk you through the upgrades that I picked that I thought would get the most performance out of this bike for the least amount of money. The first thing I invested in was new tyres. The tyres that came on the bike were some 23C Bontrager tyres from about 2015. They were old, they were quite narrow, they were not comfortable, and they were not super grippy. So the first thing I was going to do, and if I was only to upgrade one thing on the bike, it would be that, was the tyre. What I went with were some 28C Vittoria Rubino Pro tyres. So I got these tyres in a bundle deal, 2 tyres and 2 tubes for 140 New Zealand dollars. Which is an absolute steal. So the first thing I put on, 28C is the largest you can go with most rim brake bikes, including this one. I would go to 30 if they'd fit. These tyres are newer, they're grippier, they're softer. They're not a high-tech race tyres, they don't wear super quickly. They're a nice all-weather performance tyre that I can race on, train on, ride on, no matter what the conditions are. And because they're wider, they'll have more traction, have lower rolling resistance, and they'll be more comfortable. So basically wins all round. And I think you'll find there are lighter tyres as well. The next upgrade I did was the wheels. The wheels that came on the bike were some box section alloy stock Bontrager wheels, which were great to start with, but I was looking for some carbon wheels. But then I remembered I had only $500 to spend. But I found these, Shimano RS81s, a mid-range wheel from about the same generation as this bike, 2016, 2017-ish, with an alloy brake track and a carbon rim. This gives it the depth and the lightweight and aerodynamic profile of the carbon rim, but it also means I don't have to change the brake pads on the bike. If you don't know, carbon rim brake wheels and alloy rim brake wheels use different brake pads because of different surfaces. So usually if you want to switch from alloy wheels to carbon wheels, you also have to change the brake pads. These wheels are just 30mm deep. I don't want super deep wheels. This is still a climbing bike. I'd still like it to be quite lightweight. Those are my 2 big ticket upgrades, wheels and tyres. I wasn't going to upgrade the group set. It's a great value group set. Ultegra levers with 105 11 speed rim brake is amazing. It works flawlessly. I've had no issues with it. I wasn't going to touch that. So having used a bulk of my $500 to get the wheels and tyres going, I wanted to touch up the contact points with the rest of my money. So the next thing I did was change the handlebar. This is an OG Evken Surpass carbon handlebar in a 40mm width. The width that came on the bike was 42, which I felt was quite wide, and I understood that going narrower was much more aerodynamic without sacrificing too much handling. But I was a little bit nervous going down to 38s, so I found a bar that was 40mm wide. And it being carbon, it's stiffer and it's lighter and it absorbs more of those bump vibrations. OG Evken is actually a Chinese brand that you generally find on places like Temu and AliExpress, but I've had absolutely no issues with it. I bought this on Marketplace, so it was even cheaper. It came in just $40 and I've had no problems. So that was my next upgrade. Narrow bar, slightly lighter. I finished that off with some Ergon gravel bar tape in this green color that I've also found on Marketplace. It's a nice thick tape. It's really comfortable. It's got a nice texture. It doesn't slip when it's wet. And the tape that came on the original bike was a corky foam tape that was starting to show its age a little bit. So that was going to need to be replaced anyway. And this Ergon tape is a great upgrade. So now I've upgraded my front end, got my contact points at the front dialed in. With the rest of my money, I bought a new saddle. The Pro Logo saddle that came on the bike was quite an outdated shape. It had a weird flex system in the middle and I found it quite uncomfortable. So I found this Selle Italia Boost saddle, not a super expensive one, just a basic one, up on Marketplace for $40, and I grabbed that and I whacked it on the bike. These upgrades together absolutely transformed how the bike rode and felt. felt way more comfortable, stiff and responsive, and I dropped some weight off it with the wheels and the handlebar. A couple other things I have thrown on the bike is my out front mount and light setup at the front and the back, which I already had, so that's no extra cost. I also put these white BB bottle cages on, were also no cost because I actually won them during the Tour Down Under at the Village. 2 more upgrades that you may be able to see, which kind of pushed me over the $500 limit, but I feel like they were worth it. $20 for these Shimano Expedition pedals. These retail for almost $200. Found them on Marketplace. You can see I'm a Marketplace guy. They use a Shimano SPD cleat interface on a single-sided road style pedal body, which means I can use my existing mountain bike shoes on my road bike without swapping pedals to and from my mountain bike. I don't currently have road shoes. I'm about to get some, but I found that a great investment. It kind of just cut down on the faff a bit for me. It means I only need to run 1 pair of shoes for now. The other thing I've done, though the tyres came with new tubes, I have put some Ride Now TPU inner tubes in it. They're a super lightweight tube that weigh only 36 grams each, as opposed to over 100 grams for the Butyl inner tubes. It's supposed to be lighter, have a more supple ride feel, so you can feel the difference through the tyre when you're riding. They're also supposed to be more puncture protective, which all sound like good things. They were $25 on AliExpress. I was a little bit dubious, but I'd heard good things about them. They were one of the AliExpress products you can trust. But after all that, I love this bike. The next upgrade I have planned for this bike is a one-piece carbon handlebar and stem from AliExpress. So I'm really diving into this. The first time I've really dived into the AliExpress bike market with a higher value item. But I've heard good things about the carbon coming from AliExpress now, for the most part. And this OG Evkin bar is also originally from AliExpress. I've had absolutely no problems in it, so I've splashed out for a one-piece carbon handlebar and stem. So look out for that as the next video on this bike. We're going to be comparing the weight and the stiffness and how it feels compared to this 2-piece setup. So thank you for watching. Thank you for getting through this far. Please like and subscribe if you want to follow my cycling journey, my reviews of bike products, upgrades I do, and the adventures I get up to. Cheers, thanks for watching.